How do I become successful? The answer to this question has a name, and it's Alex Hormozi. He has laid out the ultimate roadmap for making it in the modern age. But most people are not ready for what comes next. You know what it means to be lazy, unmotivated, and stuck. It sucks. And you know the Hormozi style solution to this problem. Get into self-improvement mode, set goals, and achieve them. But do you know that this can be just another trap to get stuck in? Unfortunately, most people will make one of two major mistakes and find themselves in an endless, punishing grind with no way out. And the only solution is to advance to what I call post-hustle success. To explain what I mean, let's take a step back. First of all, hi. I'm Shane. I went from being frustrated, depressed, and working dead-end jobs to building 2 7-figure businesses from scratch. Then retired in my 30s, went on a bit of a spiritual journey, then unretired, and now we're here. So how did I build my businesses and become financially free? I could explain that, but I won't, because Alex Hormozi does it way better than I ever could anyway. He didn't invent it, but he's the ultimate representation of a specific approach to success through self-optimization. Let's call this approach becoming the architect of your own life. And what's more, he's also great at teaching this approach. How do you become the architect? It goes something like this. You set goals, and then you deploy the right strategies and systems to achieve those goals. And how do you know what the right strategies and systems are? Easy. You learn from the best. You get business advice from the billionaire, you get the workout plan from Mr. Olympia, and you discover the latest supplements and life hacks for boosting your performance and focus from the scientists working at the cutting edge of their fields. This is the self-development model we've all been steeped in for years. From my description just now, you probably realized I'm basically describing all of self-development podcasting. It's all about optimizing yourself, building the routines, building the habits, using strategies, and most of all, using discipline. This is the proven recipe for going from victim to victor. But the thing is, that's not where the story ends. Let's talk about stages of development. Remember how I said I used to be frustrated, broke, and depressed, and that's what set me out on this journey of self-improvement? I bet it's something similar for you. We all have some pain, some frustration, some insecurity that fuels us. We set out to prove ourselves, to prove something. Maybe to get revenge, maybe to escape the dead-end job, the dead-end life even. This is the pain of stage 1. You're the disgruntled worker. You don't get to make your own decisions. You have to follow someone else's orders. Your life sucks and you feel like a victim. The self-optimization approach, all this hustle and discipline and strategy is how you get to stage 2. You start taking control. You step up and take more responsibility. You become the architect, which is great. It's so much better than stage 1. But if you stay in this stage, you'll soon encounter new problems. Better problems than the ones you had in stage 1 for sure. But they're still very real problems. You experience the hollowness of success. You realize that no matter how much you accomplish, it still always feels like it's never enough. You are successful, yes, but at what cost? You're under so much stress, so much pressure. Eventually, you experience burnout. Maybe you even fall into full-on depression. This is not a rare exception. This is common in stage 2. But here's what I believe. These problems aren't just happening to you because the world is a cruel and unfair place. These problems are calling you to keep growing. They're calling you to move into the next stage, the stage of post-hustle success. We can even call this the Post-Hormozi stage. Now, before we move on, I need to clarify something. Post-hustle is not better than hustle. It certainly doesn't mean that my advice is better than Hormozi's advice. It would be a bit ridiculous for me to claim that. After all, I've been obsessed with self-optimization for most of my life. And I used exactly all of these stage 2 strategies to build my businesses. I did all of the strategizing, the morning routines, the productivity hacks. I was all about discipline. I literally tracked my every waking minute to maximize productivity for a while. No joke. The 4-hour work week changed my life. Deep work, that was my productivity Bible. And Atomic Habits? Well, the only reason that one didn't change my life is because by the time it was published, I was already so deep down the rabbit hole of habit building, I could have probably written a thesis about it. So yeah, you know those productivity-obsessed biohacking enthusiast digital nomad Andrew Huberman disciples? Yeah, I'm one of them. Guilty as charged. So none of what I'm talking about here is meant to say this is better than hustle. That's why I call it post-hustle success. It's not what you do instead of all that, it's what you do after. And this also means that what I'm talking about here is not for everyone. There are 2 mistakes people make in stage 2 that cause a lot of misery. The first is failure to go all in. The post-hustle stage is for those who fully embrace hard work and discipline and strategy and all that comes with it until you eventually hit a wall. Unfortunately, millions of people watch all of Alex Hormozi's TikToks but don't actually build their own business, or religiously listen to the Tim Ferriss podcast but don't implement any of the habits or life hacks, or consume hours upon hours of fitness influencer content but don't go to the gym, or at least not consistently enough to see results. You get the idea. This is the tragedy of self-development content becoming just another genre of entertainment. Some people watch Star Trek reruns, some people read romantasy novels. You watch #success motivation shorts. Don't be that guy. The second mistake is to stay stuck in this stage, to be in an endless hamster wheel of more and more and more accomplishment. If you've made $1 million, you need 10 million. If you've made 10 million, you need 100 million, and so on. This is the tragedy of someone reaching their goal, realizing that it's empty, and then just thinking, oh, I just need to reach a bigger goal. I just need to do more of what isn't working. That'll be the solution. Needless to say, this is also a recipe for suffering. You are ready to grow towards post-hustle success if, number one, you've implemented strategies, self-optimization, and discipline, and so on, to escape the first stage. Number two, you've eventually hit a wall, usually in the form of burnout, stress, a total lack of work-life balance, that kind of thing. And number three, you're not someone who just wants to retire and sip cocktails for the rest of your life. That last point is important. When you experience the stress and suffering in stage 2, you probably also realize that you could just step away, retire to a tropical beach somewhere, or maybe go to an ashram in India and sit in meditation until you achieve total bliss. That is a solution to stage 2 problems, but it's not what you want. It's not who you are. You have this creative drive. You want to build things. You want to make a difference in the world. And this is why I call it post-hustle success. It's about being as effective. Actually, scratch that. It's about being more effective than you ever were before, but without burning yourself out. Okay, so how is this possible? Is this even possible? The answer is yes. And the first step is to understand what stage 3 actually looks like. If you study people who became highly successful and also had great life satisfaction, a common pattern emerges. After personal accomplishment, they transition to being in service of something greater than themselves. Remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where we go from meeting our very basic survival needs all the way up to self-actualization? What many people don't know is that later in life, Maslow added another stage, one to come after self-actualization. And that stage is self-transcendence. He realized that the human mind cannot find peace just by optimizing itself. We find peace only when we serve something outside ourselves. It's like you literally cannot win at the game of life if you're the only character you care about. In the field of positive psychology, this has even been studied and quantified. Martin Seligman defined 3 levels of ascending happiness. The first is the pleasant life. That's when you have food, entertainment, pleasurable experiences, that kind of thing. The second is the good life. That's when you're doing things you're good at, using your skills, feeling engaged. And the third, at the very top, is the meaningful life. This is when you are using your strengths in service of something greater than you. But the thing is, most people misunderstand this. You look at this and think, oh, so I should do something charitable, right? Donate to a good cause, that kind of thing. That's missing the point. The way to actually grow into stage 3 is by going from being the architect to being the gardener. The gardener is not just working on something greater than himself. He's cooperating with a force that's greater than himself, and that's key. He's letting go of the precise control over every detail that the architect has. As a gardener, you can't go and pull on a plant to make it grow fast. Instead, you align yourself with the sun, with the seasons. You cultivate the right conditions in the soil, and the result of that is something far greater than you could have ever created with your own hands. Think about it. Yes, humans can design beautiful and impressive buildings and machines, but nothing we create has the mind-boggling complexity, or you could argue the transcendent beauty of something even as simple as a flower. So that's what it means to become the gardener. So all of this sounds nice in theory, but how do you actually do this? The first thing to do is to distinguish between things you're meant to do and things you're not meant to do. You can force yourself to do anything, including things you're really not meant to do. This is very much a stage 2 kind of thing. You force yourself through. But even if you have the most fine-tuned system in place and you have absolutely iron discipline, there's only so much you can accomplish here. On the other hand, when you're doing what you're meant to do, you easily get into a flow state. A state of peak performance that also makes you feel totally engaged, alive, energized. Motivation feels effortless. You feel massively productive without having to force anything. That's already great, but it's not only that. You also discover that things just keep working out in your favor by sheer coincidence, it seems. You randomly bump into just the right person at the coffee shop. The perfect deal lands in your lap effortlessly. It feels like you have wind at your back. Joseph Campbell talked about this as the invisible hands that seem to come to your aid. Carl Jung famously called these phenomena synchronicities. And all of this is what I call alignment. It's what happens when you stop bashing your head against the wall and instead start walking through the door. And I know this from personal experience because I was a world-class head against wall basher myself for a long time. The simplest way I've found to put this into practice and unlock the benefits of alignment for yourself is to follow the signal of energy and aliveness. So when you're forcing things you're not meant to do, you experience drag. It's exhausting, it's draining. And what's worse, the results tend to be mediocre. But when you're doing what you're meant to do, it actually gives you energy. So you finish the work feeling more alive than when you started. And you can use how energized you feel like an inner compass to navigate by. You can test this out by making small adjustments. Identify what gives you energy and see what happens if you lean into that direction. What if you do a bit more of that and a bit less of something that drains you? Try it out, and when you notice that it gives you a boost in energy, that's your signal to lean in even more. And especially if you notice these interesting coincidences and synchronicities start happening, that's a really strong signal to keep going in that direction. If you're ready to step into post-hustle success right now, click the first link in the description. This takes you to my Aliveness Experiment, which gives you an exercise which is basically exactly what I talked about before, but with a bit more detail and step-by-step instruction. Most importantly, this is made for exactly the kind of person who doesn't have time to add another habit or task or chore to your already overly busy workday. And it's also designed as an experiment, because I'm not asking you to just listen to me and then take my word for what I'm saying. The whole point is that you can prove this to yourself. You can make small adjustments that lead to a big difference. And when it works, you'll unlock loads more energy and aliveness. And as you'll find, energy and aliveness is worth a lot more than extra time. So like I said, that's the first link in the description. Go check it out. I think you'll love it. And if you want to discover how most people stay stuck in stage 2, in part because they're trying to fix their problems at the wrong end, check out this video next.